All right, you've got Bo and Drew here of Manifest Dread, and we're doing something a little under the umbrella, but not necessarily the pillars of Duel Commander. But this conversation is going to be seen through the lens of Duel Commander and Boomer Magic players and WotC in general. So we're going to be talking about Slop, the Yap meta, CEDH being solved, and the greater Commanderfacation of Magic the Gathering today. So I'm Bo.
I'm Drew.
And we are Manifest Dread. So let's get it hot off the presses. Slop. Pokimoki, famed brewer and SCG Con winner and grinder extraordinaire, really really upsetting some people today, talking about Slop and fine dining experiences. What do you think of that?
Very hard to say. I see where he's coming from, because for a lot of enfranchised players, we're so used to how things were done in the past, and then we see all of these other IPs coming into the format, and for some people it's bugs the hell out of them. It's making some of the enfranchised players leave, and yet some people don't care, but it's bringing in a lot of people to the game, and it's changing what we used to know Magic to be.
I felt that post in my soul. All right. And I was like, I feel that Pokimoki, because I have said for the longest amount of time, dating back to when the first Commander products came out, I was like, this is where it's going. And you can either adapt and accept that, or you can be nostalgic and be bitter, or whatever you choose to be, you can be that. Magic has always been an evolving game. But with regards to the Slop in that term, and I feel like some people are getting so taken aback by his pointed barbs of pigs and they're missing the forest through the trees of that's a very fair criticism. And people will be like, he shouldn't be calling Commander players pigs. He shouldn't, it's like, well, maybe you're a pig. I don't know. Jesus. Maybe you're not. But I mean, the thing about scathing criticisms is they tend to sting when there's an element of truth there.
Sure.
And I think Pokimoki really touched a nerve there. And I gotta say, when we look at this latest Spider-Man set, yeah, it was Slop. It was, look at Assassin's Creed. Mark Rosewater just want to talk about that on his blog because, reasons. We got plenty of characters for everything else. Don't have enough space to talk about Assassin's Creed, being an epic failure. And I'm sure in the next, Mark Rosewater blog, this will fail to be mentioned as well and just buried under there. Spider-Man was Slop. It was supposed to be a Commander product. They tried to push it into being a standard product. And now what's so funny is an inverse happening, right? So it used to be Commander players would buy packs and feed the rest of the ecosystem, right?
Right.
And now the inverse is true. Now they want standard players to buy packs and feed the ecosystem, right? And it's very interesting how that came about. So I'm right there with you, Pokimoki. If you ever listen to this, I do agree with you that there is far more Slop than there is, good food on the menu at this point. And I know people will say, well, you don't have to eat at the restaurant. Okay, but you have to understand where people like Pokimoki, myself, even I seen Zach from Eternal Durdles posting, this hobby that you now love, that you get to play Commander at home with your friends, it was built off of the backs of communities of players that were playing in the 90s, in the early aughts, right? And showing up and being there for WotC, and now to see WotC not be there for them, there's a rightful amount of angst to be directed there. And I get that, as well as you look at the prizing structure for the Pro Tour series, and we used to have GPs every weekend. And I'm not trying to say we need to have GPs every weekend. I'm just saying that there used to be this very competitive scene and vibrant scene, and now it's all being lost to, Commander at home and and that's fine. I'm not trying to yuck people's yum. I think that's great. I want people to be in this game. I want to be in the retirement home, being able to play Magic with somebody. But there's also another issue here, is that we are losing the young player base. I rarely see young players anymore play Magic the Gathering.
Correct.
So what do you think of all that?
I think it's really hard to assess, because we've been so used to how things have gone over the past 10, 20, 30 years type of thing. And for enfranchised players, it's the game and the play style and the competitiveness that we kind of grew to love. even if you couldn't make it to the GPs, the SCGs and whatnot, just being able to sit at home on the weekends and just tune in.
On Twitch. It was wonderful.
Oh, yeah. People make parties out of it, just like you would with an NFL game or anything along those lines. Like, that's what we used to love to do. And now it's so spread out. Like, I totally get why enfranchised players are falling away from Magic in general. And it's so strange to see that younger audience not getting attracted to Magic the Gathering, because it is a great game. It is a very educational game. It's taught.
It's one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah.
It's right up there with chess. And No Limit Texas Hold'em.
Yeah. And as a kid, it taught you way better reading habits. It taught you how to do math. It taught you all sorts of things. And we just don't see kids in the game anymore. And it seems that while WotC is printing all of these IPs to get more people into the game, it definitely feels like we're trying to get more people that are around, our age into the game. Like, if you're doing Star Trek, how many kids are like Trekkies?
Right.
Or if we're doing, I don't know, the rumors of TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And I mean, it's had some reboots over the years, but really you're trying to appeal to that late Gen X, early millennial era person. You know what I mean?
And I mean, we got Fortnite, but
nobody.
Who cares?
And I know Zach had a really poignant point about this, is that he gave it to his nephew, and his like sister-in-law was like, "Yeah, are you gonna come pick up your Magic cards?" He like picked up the secret layer for him. He's like, "Yeah, I don't want this shit." It's like, and that sucks, But it's very true. And like, I'm not saying that people haven't been brought into the fold by way of these IPs. Obviously, people have come in, right, and some of them have stuck, and that's wonderful.
And the community's become massive.
Yes,
like that is.
But I feel like it's not even so much that Wizards is trying to serve too many masters. It just feels like, and I know as disenfranchised legacy players, you feel this in your heart. You just feel cut out. Like, they don't care about these formats anymore. They don't care about the cards and the people that play these cards to bring them to this level of success. And this really dovetails into Saffron Olive's piece about Wizards making up 80% of the profit
for Hasbro. Yeah, and just a couple of years ago, weren't they like thinking of cutting WotC because they weren't bringing in enough money, and now they're their primary source of revenue.
Yeah,
it's just so. It also just makes me wonder how much of all of these IPs is just strictly driven by Hasbro. If Wizards sticks with making their own sets, which, granted, if they're doing 6 sets a year, that's got to be ridiculously.
We're at 7 now, sir.
Ridiculously difficult to design the world, design all of the cards and everything, but it takes a lot off their plate, makes it so much easier when you're given this pre-built world, all of these characters, and then you just have to figure out how to make cards for them. They could probably turn out cards so much faster. It takes way less research and development, and at this point, we knew testing was getting cut short to begin with. And now with this, especially with like Spider-Man and stuff, it feels like testing just barely exists.
Right. And I think, this has been a word that has been brought up on numerous occasions, the Commanderfacation of the game, the UB of the game. I mean, I always refer to it as the Commanderfacation because the UB is just a symptom of the Commanderfacation, you know what I'm saying? But like, we can go back to MH3. Why was Nadu in Modern Horizons, the actual core set of it, right? Why was it there? Michael Majors had his mea culpa. Thank you, Michael Majors, for doing that. But at the same point in time, you literally had a Simic Precon Commander deck. You could have stuck Nadu in there, but you chose to put it in there. And why did you do that? And in his article, he describes, we wanted to have a Simic build around Commander. Why is this card taking up any brain space in the Modern Horizons set? I get it, Modern Horizons is for everybody, but it's in the fucking name. Modern Horizons.
Right. These things aren't being tested or like thought out for the respective formats anymore.
And listen, I'm totally all about harking back to Garfield's principles of sometimes you need to go fast and break things and you need to ban things. That was something that he had always stated. I get that. I'm with it, right? If it's broken. But this is a different entity unto itself. This is literally trying to put something where it does not belong. Like, this is supposed to be about modern in Legacy to a lesser extent, and you are jamming a Commander build-around in this. It's preposterous. And there was no testing. You didn't think, you didn't talk to anybody who has played Cephaloid Breakfast. You'd not, the moment it was introduced on Doom Extreme, everybody knew it was going to be broken. It was like anybody that had ever even sniffed Legacy was like, oh, this card's busted. And then we had to live through it. And then it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, why was there not an emergency ban? It's just like, it's like, just take your medicine, WotC. You know what I mean? Yeah, the article is nice, but we had to live through a whole summer of RCQs up until that point of dealing with that shit. And nobody enjoyed that.
Well, yeah, and it just, brings out the other point of Wizards mismanaging their formats at this point.
Which is why I am so grateful for Duel Commander 100%. Having an RC. Again, we go back and forth. If you listen to our BNR episode from 2 BNRs ago, Drew and I don't agree on it. But I could sit here and say, you know what, RC? I appreciate the fact that you actually care about the format. You play the format. I may not agree with you, but I understand where you're coming from. When I look at Carmen's or whomever, I don't want to, if I'm saying that it wasn't Carmen, whoever wrote the last BNR announcement for Legacy and had the audacity to say that Oops All Spells was a skill-intensive deck.
Dude.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, and it just feels that for the 1v1 60-card competitive formats that WotC is just kind of dropping the ball here. It feels like they're not testing things. It feels like they're mismanaging all of their formats. It feels that they are so focused on the Commanderfacation of the game that it is ruining some of these experiences. They want... I understand that they brought in, a bunch of people to try and revitalize Standard, and they've been printing a hell of a lot more powerful cards. And for a brief moment, very brief moment, Standard looked like it was kind of coming back.
Sure, I'd agree with that.
And felt like that impact, but now we're just with VV and everything. We're just back to the same spot.
Damn well they're not banning VV, and I'll tell you one reason they're not banning VV. Final Fantasy Holiday Collector Box. They are not banning that card. They will ban Soul Cauldron way before they ban VV.
Yeah, and it's just all of these things, one after another, whether it's the Ring, Nadu, VV, we all know what the problem cards are.
And we all know what format they're designed for.
Yeah, and they just refuse to do anything. And Legacy, anybody that's played Legacy over the past year just knows that that's its own shit show.
Yes.
WotC just feels like they're neglecting this part of their audience, this constructed 60-card 1v1 aspect of their audience. And I get it to some extent. Commander makes them more money. Commander players love spending...
They want to bling out their deck and everything.
Exorbitant amounts of money, and it's the casual way to play Magic, and that's how things originally started. With your kitchen table type of stuff, you get to do it with your friend. I get all that, but it does sting a little bit.
Well, not only that, Commander just they're again, it's going back to trying to serve too many masters. Commander is a board game. That is a board game.
Yeah.
That is which ties into our next portion of this, which is the Yap meta. Commander is a board game. Our good friend Brandon has said that for ages. And he is right to the most extreme. But Commander is a board game, and that's fine. But the heuristics of Magic from early on development do not apply to Commander, right? So it's the beautiful thing about Duel Commander is a lightning bolt matters in Duel Commander. Swords matters in Duel Commander. If you play regular Commander or CEDH, your other two opponents are happy to see you waste your resources on somebody else's. You know what I mean? It's just
right.
It's a resource management game more than anything else. It's I don't have to interact with the stack. I'll just do this, or I'll talk them out of this. It's a board game. It's not the same. And that's not to say it shouldn't be enjoyed, or you can't enjoy a board game, or, you can't be competitive. I mean, I get it. There are Settlers of Catan tournaments. My wife loves that. But
really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I say this as it's not to say that you can't enjoy these things, but there is a enfranchised, ingrained player base that played this game, myself included, from its onset, and are sad to see those heuristics thrown out the window in the baby and the bathwater in the sense of we're just going to feed this one community and only this community. And if you happen to get a little piece of candy from it, so be it. But that wasn't our initial intent.
Right. Yeah, we're just kind of being neglected.
Yes.
More or less.
And like you said, you see that across the mismanagement of the formats. You look to Pauper and you look to Duel Commander, and it's just such a breath of fresh air. It's like, wow, these panels actually care about their player bases. They're in the trenches. They're playing the format. You know what I mean?
No, it's great seeing Gavin's reviews on Pauper and everything too. You know, it's very thorough. It's as long as all of the other BNR announcements like put together. Like, give us somebody that actually gives a shit about the format.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying all of the Duel Commander players should gravitate towards like Legacy and Modern and whatnot, but you know, it's so easy for these players to gravitate towards Duel Commander because people actually give a shit about the format. You still get to play with a bunch of powerful cards, and you don't have to worry so much about WotC just sticking their fingers in and just screwing it all up.
Right. And not only that, to me, I was saying this weekend in Atlanta, Duel Commander feels to me like Type 1.5. And I know I dated myself by making that statement. It used to be Type 2, Type 1.5. But like Duel Commander games on average feel like they go to turn 6, 7, 8. There's so much agency. It doesn't feel like the feels bads of losing the die roll are not nearly as brutal and swingy as other formats. It's just, I don't know. I can't stress that enough how good Duel Commander is. And if you're listening to this and this showed up on your feed from some other way, please come join us in the community. Dip your feet in the water. You'll enjoy it. I assure you.
The format is a million times better than I was ever expecting, and I don't really want to be playing anything else anymore after.
Yeah.
Especially this past year of experience with WotC and everything, and the gameplay of Duel Commander is just significantly better, and I'd rather play a format that people actually give a shit about.
Yes. And you still get all of your, I shouldn't say all, most of your old toys, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, not only are the people that play this format so impassioned, I mean, you know, it's coming from a place of, specifically here in North America, you have such a large portion of disenfranchised legacy players that have hopped on board, specifically here in Colorado. And the things that made the legacy community and still make the legacy community great are so evident here in this. And it's like, you know, you had the legacy players like, which way forward, you know, young man? It's like, are you going to go play pre-modern or you're playing Duel Commander? Or maybe you're playing both. But like, the legacy community has always been such a warm and welcoming and awesome community. And I hate to see it on life support. And like WotC, just this bumbling nurse in the room, just kicking out the plug. Oh, let me plug this back in. You know, it's just such a shit show. And I'm so grateful that Duel Commander and Pre-Modern exist within those contexts. And it's great. I love that. I'm so excited for next Eternal Weekend. Duel Commander will officially be on the menu.
Sick.
And all right, we'll move right along to the Yap meta.
Well, and I also just, yeah, so, like one other thing. It's just, you know, I'm not a fan of your Commander games. I want to play the 1v1 experience. I don't care about all of the politicking. I hate how long turns take. Just let me sit here, and if you're much more into that 1v1 scenario, like, give Duel Commander a shot, because it is not Commander.
No. It feels like, you know how like sometimes you get like a sweetheart card that you're like, oh, I just love this card. You know what? Pyrogoyf. Or, you know, even like Ketramos or whomever. Or like you really identify with a color identity or a shard or a guild, whatever it is. It's like you get that heroic feeling in this format in the best of ways. You know what I mean? It's like when I'm playing Rakdos, I'm just like, Pyrogoyf, let's go. You know what I mean? Fatal Push. I want Demonic Tutor. Give me the, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I feel like I'm back in 1995 again. It's just wonderful. And the people you come across, everybody that we met this weekend in Atlanta was amazing.
100%.
Everybody. And God, I love this community so much. And I'm so excited to see it continue to grow. All right, I'll hop off that. Do you have any last thoughts? All right, on the Slop. Pokimoki, I agree with you. For those that were offended by the pig references, maybe you are a pig, whatever. Jeez. You're missing the forest through the trees with where he's coming from. He's coming from a place of passion. Passion. All right, moving right along. Yap meta. How do you feel about the Yap meta? This does not apply to our format, but I think it's hilarious.
This, again, is one of the biggest things of why I don't enjoy multiplayer formats.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate the politicking. I hate just getting locked in of this, you do this, and prevent him from doing the combo, and I'll do this, and then we just talk about it forever of all of these hypotheticals, and then
I mean, how long did that finals go to? I'm going to say it was at least 36 hours. Correct me in the comments. I know it was like less than that, but still.
I lose. If the game's not over by like an hour, I don't care.
Yes, I agree. The thing with Commander is, like we previously discussed, it is a board game. I think Commander is played at its best, in my personal experience, when it is low level, pre-cons or less with your friends.
Agreed.
Or it is high level with your friends, and there is no in between for me.
Well, and even at the high level stuff, I'm not a CEDH player. I do not consume CEDH content because I don't like the politicking. I like my decisions to matter in my game.
Yes.
And when my decisions are dependent on 2-3 other people to interact with one other person, like, get me out.
Yeah. And some people enjoy that.
Yes, and that's more power to them. That is not for me.
That is not for me either. I do not like the politicking. I feel like Sam Black must be like a psyop for CEDH, because you'll see him post on Twitter. He's like, yes, we had this very thoughtful game, and I threatened to have a draw for all of us unless we did all of these things. It's just like, that sounds miserable.
If you want to play those head games and just, screw with people, go for it.
Sam Black is the psyop for CEDH.
If I'm going to lose, let me lose.
Yes.
In my way. I don't want to be dependent on, these other people screwing with all this other nonsense.
Yes. And not only that, like, I don't want the feels bad to be like, you shouldn't have forced there. You should have done X, Y. It's like, dude, I don't know what's going on. I'm so, you know what I mean? So I'm a tourist in Commander at best. And I find the Yap meta, I'm just like, I don't get it. And maybe it's not for me to get, but I do not get it.
Yeah, it's definitely not for me. I don't understand it either. But again, if that's your cup of tea, I mean, go for it.
Yeah, more power to you. The other thing that I want to bring up as we're talking about it is CEDH solved? And, I seen Lamora's post about it, and some other, I think Distraction Makers also made a video about it. But Semi-Blue, and just like, if this does not scream peak/horizon of a format, I don't know what does. If you haven't looked at this deck list, I'll post one of them. This is from Distraction Makers, Gavin's list on Moxfield. And there is literally no interaction in this list at all.
No.
This is literally 44 creatures, 10 tutors, and we're just going to shove until you can not deal with this, and I'm not going to interact with anybody else. That, to me, does not scream healthy as an outsider.
You, like I said, I don't even dip my toe into CEDH. Like, you definitely know more about this one, but I've definitely seen some things that talk about this, and just jam, try and get as much value out as you can, and say, deal with me, and if no one interacts, sure, but you don't care about being the one that has to interact, and you just kind of go and do your thing.
You're literally playing solitaire. Feels like you're playing solitaire on like an airplane. Like, up, a little bumped. We'll be fine. Yeah. Just a little turbulence. That's what it sounds like. I don't know. It's like I said, I not trying to yuck anybody yum. If you love CEDH, all the more power to you. But just coming from the singleton format, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. So
yeah, and again, all the more reason that if you've been an enfranchised player, if you played the 1v1s, legacy grinder, modern grinder, anything along those lines, and you don't enjoy Commander, or you don't enjoy the politicking or any of those things, that's the great thing about Duel Commander.
I will also say, it was so funny. I think it was Jimmy from Command, one of those bigger Commander things. He's like, the EDH community is the best. And somebody was like, I don't know. They threatened, had a bunch of death mailed in. I was like, I probably wouldn't say they're the best. I was like, you might want to tuck that one in a little bit. It's like, and I say this as a partial Dodger fan. People are like, Dodger fans are the best. It's like, I don't know. They've beaten some people to near death in the parking lot. Probably not the best. Oh, I'm just saying. Obviously, everyone has their biases, myself included. But EDH community is the best. Are they? I don't know any other communities out there sending death threats about pieces of cardboard being banned. All right. Well, that's all I've got for this off meta fireside chat.
Our little rant.
Our little rant. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bo.
I'm Drew.
We are Manifestor at MTG.